What do you want to play now?
I don't even know, bro. There's nothing to fucking play anymore.
There's always a few good games.
No, there isn't. The amount of time I spend staring at my Steam library, contemplating one mediocre option or another, is frightening.
That's probably why I fall asleep on my keyboard so often.
Retro games are the only games that bring me joy beyond getting a W on a BR.
True, but even that gets boring, especially when you gotta carry Joe's geriatric ass.
You know for a fact I'm a killer in the streets and in the sheets.
Stay out of kids' beds, Joe.
Why can't we go back to the old days where you could pop Halo 3 into the old Xbox 360 and put on a custom game of Fat Kid with a full lobby of degenerates that had no filter whatsoever?
I've heard the most demonic, unholy rhetoric in those lobbies. All respect evacuated from every person in the lobby the first time the game was canceled by somebody pressing X at the very last second to cancel the countdown.
I'll admit I would try to press X at the very last possible time, pretty much always.
God, I miss those toxic lobbies. And of course, I miss Peak Halo. The franchise has died so tragically.
Want to do a Halo tier list?
That's a great idea, Joe. And you didn't even ask for a waifu list.
Cortana is a munch, though.
Are we counting everything 343 did to destroy their own reason for existing?
We will be ranking 343 Halo, yes.
If anyone at 343 is watching, fuck you.
Agreed. Okay, let's start with where it all began. Halo. Combat Evolved.
A great intro to this new and exciting series. I remember when this game came out like it was yesterday.
That's probably because this was before the dementia started kicking in.
Regardless, I still have precious memories of being blown away playing this game for the first time.
The campaign was awesome. It felt like they went above and beyond in every new mission.
The introduction of the Flood was done so well, it actually gave me the creeps, big time.
I was truly frightened seeing the Covenant massacred and expecting whatever was responsible to burst around a corner and kill me.
The atmosphere was unlike any game that came before. Each enemy had a unique role and style, which made fights extremely interesting.
The elites were tougher than Rosie O'Donnell's cankles. The campaign was great. No other modes to really speak of, though.
It was so long ago that multiplayer wasn't really as important as building the world.
Hey, dumbasses, there was multiplayer. It was a blast.
Yeah, but you had to be co-op or on System Link in the same network.
And I guess you didn't have too many friends. I got on the LAN with all the boys and had days of fun on Blood Gulch.
Yeah, I bet you did. It's not like there was anything else to do in Delaware.
Hey, fam.
What's up, George?
Hey, man, we are doing a Halo tier list. You want in?
Looks like I got in just in time. Still on Combat Evolved, huh?
Yeah, it just started. What do you think?
I'll tell you what, it was only a couple months after 9/11 that this game hit the shelves, and it was unlike any other first-person shooters at that time. I was used to Resident Evil and Doom or Quake. Nothing had a feel like Halo.
Halo was there for this country when we really needed it.
I see you with these retro games, Bush.
I was always a gamer at heart. Too bad esports didn't exist back then, or I'd be bigger than the Ninja right now.
So where do we place Halo 1?
I'm biased, so I'll leave this one up to y'all.
I think we all are.
Well, I'm not going to say S tier right away. Sure, this was an S tier when it came out, but it does show its age a little bit. Not a lot of multiplayer modes or access.
Where the fuck are you putting it then? And choose your words carefully.
Don't worry, Joe. I'm simply saying it should be an A tier to leave room for the peak of the franchise.
I feel like that's fair.
I'm not totally agreeing, but that does feel right.
Very insightful, Donnie.
Okay, now the one and only Halo 2.
Okay, this might be one of the best video games of all time.
There's no argument against that.
I spent the better part of my presidency roasting kids online in this masterpiece.
George, they couldn't find you for weeks after Hurricane Katrina. Is this the explanation?
I was 100% trying to beat the game on Legendary with all skulls on during that time. Totally worth it.
The new weapons were awesome. The addition of the SMG made close encounters doable without a shotgun.
New enemy vehicles were insane, too. The Ghost and Banshee were instant classics, but the Wraith and Scarab were next level.
Don't forget the Halo 2 battle rifle. The best weapon in Halo history.
Facts. Also, dual wielding was fucking metal.
Of course, the additions were great, but the biggest strides made by Bungie were in the campaign and storytelling.
Being able to play as the Arbiter and understand his story gave us a whole another side of this universe. We began to understand him and the other poor souls in the Covenant.
The characters introduced in the Covenant story arc was peak.
The depth of their story made the stakes so much higher from the human perspective. It was easy to dismiss the enemies as fodder monsters, but this new perspective gave the enemies new life.
We should talk music. This soundtrack helped make Halo 2 the legend that it is.
Me and the boys used to go into the bathroom and sing the Halo voices.
True.
I'll be honest, giving the Covenant back their bomb was my favorite moment in video gaming history.
It was a fucking spiritual experience.
This entire story was biblical.
The way they even added character to the fucking Flood.
Remarkable.
He felt like talking to the devil, and it made sense that you could communicate with him considering he is a grave mind.
This story was so fucking good. We already know it's S tier.
It could be placed in S tier purely because of Sergeant Johnson.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
Big Dick Johnson is a fucking goat.
Okay, amazing. Now 3?
This is where Halo became a dynasty.
I was glad that I ended my second term and could finally ride off into the sunset, painting portraits and playing custom games with my fellow Americans. It was the happiest time in my life.
It was fucking hard to run a country and also get better than anyone else on the planet at this game, man. It took dedication.
You got so good with the sniper that I developed hatred for you as an individual.
I'll admit, it was hard to like someone that always hit a trick shot to win the 1v1.
Yeah, it was only when you were on my team that we became brothers.
True that, man. We would never have hung out if it weren't for this game. In many ways, it was the reason why you even became vice president in the first place.
These games were so great that they low-key shaped this country in more ways than you would expect.
You guys always made me fat kid in custom games.
Fucking classic.
That's fucking diabolical.
You did get pretty good at it, to be honest. You always got Joe first, at least.
No fair. I always used a shotgun, had to get down and dirty.
Not in that game type, Joe. But really, there was nothing like the hours spent on the multiplayer.
And the campaign was just as good as the last game.
Not having the elites was kind of depressing. It made combat so different without them.
It was still peak, though. Everything we lost in the elites was made up by vehicular manslaughter.
True that. Pulling up on some fools in a chopper was amazing.
The missions were incredible. Each level had its own atmosphere and a unique look that made the experience feel so lifelike.
Trying to get Cortana back the whole game was so flavor.
It was annoying that she kept popping up, to be honest. But fighting through the flood hive to save her was pretty fucking cool.
That level made me want to puke. It was awesome.
Dude, the Arbiter silencing the Prophet was the most satisfying thing ever.
Man, the ending Warthog run was the most chaotic drive ever. The music blasting as everything collapsed around you was a perfect climax to the campaign. Also, it was a shame that the GOAT Sergeant Johnson met his end to that fucking floating robot head, 343 Guilty Spark. It's almost like they knew 343 was going to kill everything we knew and loved.
Is there any objection for putting Halo 3 in S tier?
If there is, I have a surface-to-air missile that could make a visit to an address.
No need, Joe. I also feel like you were talking to me there.
I heard a comment that wasn't positive, and I almost sent it your way right then.
Put the military laptop away, Joe.
Oh, look who's talking.
Fuck off. All right, now the game that's kind of a DLC, but not really, Halo 3 ODST.
This shit fucking slaps tits.
My not at all guilty pleasure, my favorite of the whole franchise.
That's respectable.
I agree. The increased difficulty and lowered defenses of the ODSTs was great. It put the carnage we dished out to the Covenant as Master Chief in context.
The characters weren't bad.
No, and the story was cool. I loved the part with the engineer.
I blew that thing's fucking brains out on principle.
Do you have a fucking soul, Don?
It heals my enemies. It's an enemy.
You fucking bastard. They were innocent slaves.
Come the fuck on. You're going to sit here and say that's not okay when you all shot hundreds of thousands of grunts in their innocent little faces and screamed hooray when the confetti flew?
Damn, I was not prepared for that equivalency.
It's not the same. The grunts can defend themselves.
So you've never shot one that was running away after you slaughtered all his friends?
Well, you got to get to the next round somehow.
Firefight was the best of all game modes in Halo. I also shot every single engineer I've ever seen. Man up, pussies.
That was based as fuck, George. I gotta respect it.
I don't disagree. Firefight was the most Chad mode ever.
I would go rounds with Barack for hours.
Don't say it like that. And you took all the fucking health packs in the first wave.
Get carried.
Still an S-tier game.
Enough said.
Very good. Now, the last Halo game made by Bungie, Halo Reach.
Now, this is my favorite.
The last true Halo.
It was everything. Campaign, multiplayer, firefight, custom games, and an epic Forge world.
I spend hundreds of hours just fucking around on that map.
There isn't a spot where this game is lacking. It took everything we loved in the previous games and gave it pages of options for limitless experiences.
The campaign had the feels of a war movie, and it got more and more hopeless as you lost your friends.
The sacrifices of Noble Team had me tear up a couple times.
Each one of them had amazing sacrifices for the cause, except June, who actually survived, and everybody low-key didn't notice.
Kat's death was so sad.
It also gives tribute to all the times we went down to a fucking jackal sniper.
George was my favorite.
Thanks, Joe.
I meant the OP Spartan.
I was really good at this game. You are correct.
Fuck you, the one with the minigun.
My favorite weapon. How'd you know?
Stop it, George. You'll kill him.
Sorry, Joe.
Carter was a great leader. It was awesome to see how he dealt with an impossible situation as the perfect soldier.
Emil was metal as fuck.
Not to mention the elites were back and better than ever. Every species had its own hierarchy and special forces. This was peak PvE combat in Halo.
Best firefight ever, too.
We got to put it in S tier. Remember Reach?
All right, cool.
No, Barack, Don't do it.
What, Donnie?
Don't put me through it again. Just let Halo die with Bungie.
Don, Bungie didn't die. They made Destiny.
Isn't he that dude that talks way too fast? I can't understand him at all, but I know he was mean to me.
No, Donald, it's another shooter. Pretty mid.
Oh, yeah, like I said, let it die with Halo.
No, Donnie, we got to cover the whole franchise. But we will start with something different. How did we like Halo Wars?
There we go. This game was big brain.
I never understood this game.
That's because you have no mind for military strategy. That's why pulling out of Afghanistan was a fucking disaster.
He's got a point, Joe.
Fuck you guys. It's not like George has a mind for it either.
Bitch, who the fuck you think you're talking to? You've got fucking nothing on Operation Desert Storm.
You were there based on a lie anyway.
It was for oil, numbnuts. If anything, you're proving my point.
Guys, can we get back to Halo?
Yeah, this game was pretty tight once I got into the swing of things.
The campaign was also pretty great.
Facts. Great story, great characters.
Too bad this game was lacking in game modes. It was pretty much just a campaign or playing sweats online.
But each battle was so unique that it made up for the lack of options.
Meh.
How would you rank it, Don?
I'd be at C tier, mid.
I'd be higher. I spent a lot of time on this game, and my Desert Storm Scorpion Blitz was unstoppable.
I can get down with that. Could we agree on B tier?
That's fine.
Great.
I don't know.
Okay, how about Halo Wars 2?
It brought a great villain into the story again, and I am very grateful for that. Atriox finally brought some balls back to Halo after years.
This campaign was fucking metal.
I watched the cutscenes on YouTube, and I gotta say I was jealous that I couldn't figure this game out.
You missed out. The story was very refreshing considering what was being released on the FPS side of Halo.
343 nearly brought me back in with this game, but the other games made me die inside.
That shouldn't hurt this game. It was very well done.
I still didn't appreciate the game outside the campaign.
Come on, Donnie. The multiplayer was better?
It didn't make a lot of progress on that front. Plus 343 tried to cash grab it with the card game in the new mode. Not cool.
Okay, but you could still just not play that mode.
Plus, some of the armies you could buy made it kind of pay to win.
You could still win games with Captain Cutter.
Yeah, but the guys for money usually had better stuff. Pay to win.
I still think it's an improvement.
Yeah, better than last game. Not perfect.
So, A tier?
I'd be at B tier.
I think it's better than the first one, but I'd be cool with either.
I'll be the tiebreaker and say it's A tier.
Can we talk about the real game again?
Yes, Joe, but you a bitch for that.
Don't do this to me.
Halo 4.
Fuck.
This game missed the mark.
343 inherited the best video game franchise ever. Their entire reason for being. They just decided to up and change everything. They tried to make it like every other shooter, when the point was it was Halo, not another shooter.
The campaign was dreadful.
The Prometheans weren't fun to fight against. They weren't that easy, weren't that hard. They were kind of cool looking, I guess. They just didn't seem like Halo enemies.
At least Cortana was hot as fuck.
Whatever, Joe, go stick your dick in a projector.
Seriously, though, the emotional moments between Chief and Cortana were so close to the moments they shared in the previous installments. It's just a shame that the gameplay was so god-awful that the Halo we knew and loved was already gone by the time they made strides on an emotional level.
They were doing too much of that emotional shit. It became annoying.
You're right, Joe. I didn't need to know or care about a random scientist or a librarian. I needed stakes and a coherent plot with an interesting conflict, and I didn't get a single one of those things.
Right. And even worse was we got elites back, but they didn't even look or act like elites. They were just pussy brutes.
Even the cutscenes were pretty mid. The acting was the best part, but it just didn't even matter at that point. All was lost.
Multiplayer was okay. Not as good as any of the previous 6 games, though.
This was the start of the very end for Halo. It wasn't even worth it to have an Xbox anymore except to play the previous Halo games.
I think it's really bad, but not the worst of these later games.
I still think F tier.
I'm not quite at F, but definitely under C tier.
What little the campaign achieved with acting in its cutscenes keeps it out of F tier, in my opinion.
I would disagree, but the most F tier has yet to show itself, so I'll let it break into D tier. Just barely.
That sounds good.
Okay, cool. Now, Halo 5?
Why does everything I love fucking die?
Facts, no printer.
This game was hot garbage.
Okay. Can we think of any positives for this game before all the negatives? Seriously?
I guess the cutscenes were kind of cool looking at times.
That's about it.
I was actively rooting against all the humans.
The story was stupid. The characters were mid. It was generally just a boring Power Ranger game that didn't resemble Halo.
The combat was trash and was made for a much faster-paced game than Halo.
I get that Halo is futuristic, but I don't see why you got to change the entire flow of the game simply because you want to test out some boosts and climb all over the map.
To their credit, there was a ton of customization. Too bad most of that looked like fucking shit.
There was a lot of game modes, at least.
Warzone was another pay-to-win game, but this time it was 10 times worse than any other game I can think of currently.
You just hate pay-to-win stuff because your dad never let you use the credit card for anything.
Fuck off, Donnie, you and your small loans.
I'm kidding, Georgie. I didn't give a fucking dollar to 343 outside buying Halo 4 at launch. And I guess I bought some stuff in Halo Wars 2. An infinite fuck!
Hurts to be a fan nowadays, doesn't it?
It sure does. Halo 5 played so fast that all these 10-year-old zooming little shits were killing me over and over again. My previous Halo skills didn't translate to this game at all.
You weren't that good, but you're still right about that.
Put this fucking game away like everyone else did after a week or less.
F tier it goes, bye-bye.
Okay, guys, before we move on to Infinite, we should mention the Master Chief Collection.
It's just all the good games together, plus Halo 4.
F tier, they shouldn't touch.
Come on, Donnie. This came with the new Halo 2 cutscenes. I enjoyed the fuck out of this remaster.
Have you ever played on Legendary? Shit was literally impossible.
True, that shit was way harder than any Halo game I've ever played.
What's the point if the Jackal sniper kills you the second he can see you?
Sounds like a skill diff.
Fuck off, George. I vote we put this in B tier because then, just because of the remaster, plus this shit was so buggy when it came out, not to mention it takes up most of the space on your console no matter what you have.
We should also put Combat Evolved Remastered in B alongside it.
I say that one goes in C tier, $60 for a graphics update.
That's cool with me.
Is there any fringe game that we want to mention? Spartan Assault or anything?
Not really worth it. They were kind of fun, but twin stick shooters haven't been good since you physically had to go to an arcade.
I tend to agree with Don here. Let's move past them.
Okay, then how about Infinite?
I thought it was okay, but a huge disappointment at the same time. It's like exactly how my father feels about me.
It's pretty mid.
There was nothing infinite about this shit. If anything, the enjoyable time in this game is very finite. I finished the game in like 5 hours and then spent a couple hours in multiplayer before I was right back to thinking Halo is dead.
Halo Finite.
It's unfortunate but true. There was nowhere near enough content on launch. There was like 4 multiplayer modes. Who thought that was acceptable?
Let's be honest, though, the gameplay returns to form a little bit.
Definitely a whole lot better than the last 2 games. I had some fun with this one. Obviously, Don is too consumed with his hatred to enjoy new experience, but I think this was a very good campaign that hit on all the emotion that the previous 2 tried to be on, but matched it with good gameplay.
I did enjoy this campaign, Joe. I just didn't like everything. Why Atriox wasn't the main villain or final boss fight is completely puzzling to me. Some random brute saying he was dead made me want to stop playing, especially after the intro of him beating Chief to a pulp.
I'm leaning toward Don in this case. I didn't want to get faked out at the end in a spoken reveal for the next game that Atriox is actually alive.
Reds versus Blues again, huh?
Although Red versus Blue was tight, I agree with them mostly. I will admit that the gameplay was almost on par with the Legends in S tier right now, but I can't say I was blown away by this game in any capacity. No forge, no firefight, no infection on launch. Although a few of those things came with time, nothing was as grand as it was before.
Music was good, though.
I don't think music was bad in any Halo. I just didn't notice the music in the last 2 Halos because I was too busy hating what I was playing.
Fair enough.
All right, so the general consensus is that this game was good. It was just under our expectations.
I think you're being generous. It was a cool campaign on a mid-game.
Okay, so what are we thinking?
After everything is accounted for, I think a C tier is in order.
I'm okay with that.
I'd be more generous, but that's okay.
All right, guys.
Accurate list. We done?
Not quite yet, Don.
You can't mean it.
I do.
Barack, I swear to fucking God, if you are about to do what I think you're about to do.
How do we feel about Halo the series?
Jesus fucking Christ. I almost just said a big gamer word.
This is a new low for you, bro. I'm disappointed.
Guys, it's officially Halo.
Barack, I want to hit you in your smug fucking head with a gravity hammer right now.
I'm not the one that hurt you, Don.
He's right. 343 signed off on this abomination.
The fact that you'll even acknowledge the presence of this show in front of the heroes in S tier is why I have a fucking problem with you, Barack.
Why, Donnie? What was wrong with it?
Okay, now you're just baiting us.
I couldn't even get myself to hate watch this fucking shit past like 4 or 5 episodes. Paramount and whoever wrote this should have their brains studied because science might be able to weaponize this level of fucking stupid.
Not one character was good, not one.
M. Night Shyamalan did a far better job converting Avatar to live action, and he mispronounced all the names intentionally.
I can't remember any of it because staying awake while watching this show is an impossible task.
That's even true for me. Watching paint dry is like Shawshank Redemption compared to this shit.
I'd rather watch The View at half speed than watch this shit.
That's cruel and unusual.
I can't begin to remember any of the new characters because they all have no passion for this runaway cosplay.
The Chinese girl is terrible. It was physically painful to watch her scenes.
The Covenant Karen was the worst idea they could have possibly had. Like, what the fuck? Did the writers actually want me to hate the UNSC and root for the Covenant?
I found the race-swapped Laskies to be extremely boring and pointless.
How far did you guys even get in this show?
Too far. I don't remember the end, though.
I waited for it to get good, but it was like the show wanted to be unwatchable more than anything. I'm considering that it was revenge toward Halo fans from 343. They just wanted to get one more punch to the gut in before they dismantle in a few years.
I couldn't get past when Master Chief had sex. I said, what am I even watching anymore, out loud, and turned it off forever.
Don't forget to cancel your Paramount Plus account.
Yeah, those people suck. Bill Gates is also a fucking asshole.
Yeah, apparently Bill Gates is behind literally all this shit just because his son liked the game. What a fucking little prick.
This was the nail in the coffin for Halo fans. I thought I would never stop loving this franchise, but it's over. I'm not waiting around for years, waiting for the possibility that the devs will make an update to fix Infinite and make everything okay again.
It's just not gonna happen. It's dead. Why is this shit not an F tier yet?
Oh, sorry. It's not like it was ever a real debate.
I'm still pissed it's even listed. But I guess it can rot with Halo 5 down there.
Okay, Donnie, I know I've just tortured you with that one, so I'll give you a reprieve. How do we like Halo Legends?
Okay, Legends was pretty dank. I wasn't into some of the cringy stuff, though.
That's what's great to me about these anthologies with different art styles. You get to play around with different settings and physics to try and make a great story. I loved when Star Wars Visions came out.
I'm in the same boat. Both Halo Origins were classic.
I'm even a fan of the cringy anime in this.
There's the super suit story that was amazing. That and the sniper mission with the Lady Spartan was incredible.
I thought it was all solid. We definitely could have used more of it recently.
Too bad. That would be both a good direction for the franchise and highly profitable.
Yeah, 343 stopped doing that shit a while ago.
What do we think?
I'm saying S tier.
No, Joe, I wouldn't be at S, more of an A tier.
Yeah, maybe if everything was as good as the Super Suit episode, then I'd say S, but A tier is good.
I agree. Any other media from Halo?
Can you put Red versus Blue in A tier?
Sure, Joe, that's a fair request. They represent the community Halo universe. So much fan-made content on YouTube. The creators of that stuff had way more passion for this franchise than who holds it now.
Okay, cool.
Good call, Joe.
Anything else is just trailers and shit that never got off the ground.
Okay, guys, we did it.
Why am I depressed now?
It was heavy to get through. Wounds are still healing.
I'm really sleepy after that.
Well, I hope all the viewers enjoyed it.
Well, if they aren't here now, they probably didn't.
Let us know if you did. I'm trying to figure out if y'all like longer form content.
Remember, folks, Spartans never die.
They just sell out to Bill Gates.